Hello, and welcome to the Practical English Podcast. My name is Mike.
And I'm Angela. We're so glad you could join us today.
In this podcast, we help English learners like you improve their skills and speak with more confidence. We focus on practical, everyday English that you can actually use.
That's right. And today we have a fantastic topic for you. We're going to teach you 40 common English phrases that native speakers use every single day. The title of our episode is 40 English Phrases Native Speakers Say Every Day. Speak More Naturally.
Learning these phrases will make a huge difference in your conversations. You'll not only understand native speakers better, but you'll also start to sound more natural and fluent yourself.
These are the kinds of phrases you might not find in a textbook, but you will hear them constantly in movies, on TV shows, and in real-life conversations. So if you're ready to take your English to the next level, let's get started.
All right, let's dive into our first phrase. Angela, why don't you start us off?
My pleasure. Phrase number 1 is no worries.
A classic. No worries is a very friendly and relaxed way to respond to a few different situations. Most commonly, it's used to mean you're welcome or it's not a problem. It's very common in places like Australia and the US.
Exactly. You can use it when someone thanks you for a small favor. For example, if you hold a door open for someone and they say, "Thanks so much," you can reply, "No worries." It feels a little more casual than "you're welcome."
It's also perfect for when someone apologizes for something minor. For instance, if a colleague says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to send you that file," you can reassure them by saying, "No worries, just send it when you have a chance." It shows that you are not angry or upset.
Great. Let's move on to phrase number 2. Sounds good.
This is another incredibly useful phrase you'll hear all the time. You use sounds good to show that you agree with a suggestion or a plan. It's a positive, informal, and enthusiastic way to say yes or I agree with that idea.
Exactly. It's very common when making plans. For example, if a friend sends you a message, "Hey, let's meet for lunch on Saturday. How about that new Italian place at 1 p.m.?" A perfect, natural reply is, "Sounds good. See you then."
It's not just for plans. You can also use it to respond to a piece of information that you are happy about. For example, your boss might say, "I've approved your request for vacation days." You could reply, "Oh, great. Sounds good. Thank you." You can also change the adjective to add more emphasis. Sounds great is a bit more enthusiastic, and sounds perfect is for when a plan is exactly what you wanted. Okay, phrase number 3. This one's important for expressing uncertainty. The phrase is, "I'm not sure."
This is a simple but essential phrase. You use it when you don't know the answer to a question. In many daily situations, it sounds more natural and softer than saying, "I don't know."
For instance, if someone asks you, "Is the supermarket still open?" and you don't have the information, you can say, "I'm not sure. I think it closes at 9, but you might want to check." It shows you are thinking about the question.
That's a perfect lead-in to our fourth phrase, "Let me check."
Yes, you often use "let me check" right after saying "I'm not sure." It means you're going to try to find the information for the person who asked. It's a very helpful and proactive phrase.
So putting them together, a friend asks, "What's the weather forecast for tomorrow?" You can reply, "I'm not sure. Let me check my phone." Then you look for the information. It makes the conversation smooth and collaborative.
Moving on to phrase number 5. That makes sense.
This is what you say when you understand someone's explanation, reason, or argument. It's a signal that you are following their logic and that their point is clear and reasonable to you.
For example, if you are learning a new grammar rule and you are confused, your teacher might explain it in a different way. When you finally understand, you can say, "Okay, that makes sense now. Thank you."
It's also great for showing empathy. If a friend says, "I'm so tired today, I was awake all night with my baby," a good reply is, "Oh, that makes sense. You must be exhausted." Okay, let's look at a couple of common greetings. Phrase 6 is, "How's it going?"
This is a very common, informal way to say, "How are you?" You can use it with friends, colleagues, and people you know. A typical response would be, "Good, you?" or "It's going well, thanks."
And similar to that, phrase number 7 is, "What's up?" This is even more informal. It's a relaxed greeting used between friends. The interesting thing about "what's up" is the answer. People don't usually give a long, detailed answer.
That's right. Often the answer is just, "Not much," or "Hey, what's up?" Right back at them. It's more of a hello than a real question about what the person is doing.
Let's move to phrase number 8, I get it.
This is a simple conversational way to say, I understand. It's similar to that makes sense, but it's more about your personal understanding. For example, if someone explains a difficult concept and you finally understand it, you can say, okay, I get it now.
You can also use it to show you understand someone's feelings. If a friend is complaining about their difficult boss, you could say, yeah, I get it. That sounds really frustrating.
Our 9th phrase is never mind.
This phrase can be tricky. It generally means forget what I just said, or it's not important. You use it when you decide that something isn't worth repeating or discussing. For instance, if you ask a question, but then you find the answer yourself, you can say, oh, never mind, I found it.
But be careful with your tone. If you say never mind in an angry or frustrated tone, it can sound rude, like you're dismissing the other person. But used politely, it's a very useful way to move on from a topic.
Phrase number 10 is a kind and encouraging one. Take your time.
You say this when you want to tell someone that they don't need to hurry. It gives them permission to work at their own pace without feeling pressured. For example, if a friend is writing a text message to you and you're waiting, but you're not in a rush, you can say, no worries, take your time.
It's also great for language learners. If someone is trying to explain something in English and is struggling to find the words, you can support them by saying, it's okay, take your time. It's a very supportive phrase.
Now for a group of phrases when you don't understand. Phrase 11 is, what do you mean?
This is a direct question you ask when you need someone to clarify what they said. Maybe their words were unclear or you don't understand their intention. If a friend says, I'm done with this situation, you might ask, what do you mean? Are you quitting your job?
Phrase 12 is more polite and formal. Could you repeat that, please?
You use this when you didn't hear what someone said. Maybe the room was noisy or they spoke too quickly. This is a very safe and polite way to use in any situation, from a classroom to a business meeting.
And a more informal version of that is phrase 13. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
To catch something in this context means to hear or understand it. So I didn't catch that means I didn't hear you clearly. It's very common in everyday conversation, and it's a bit softer than saying, what?
For example, if you're on the phone and the connection is bad, you might say, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. The line is breaking up.
All right, let's look at phrase 14. It's up to you.
This phrase means you can decide. You say it when you are happy with any choice and you want to give the other person the power to make the final decision. If someone asks, should we get pizza or tacos for dinner? And you like both options, you can say, I don't mind. It's up to you.
Phrase 15 is something you might say over the phone or in a text message. I'm on my way.
This simply means you have started your journey and are traveling to the destination. If you are meeting a friend and they text you, where are you? A simple reply is, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Next up, phrase 16, which is great for showing surprise. For real?
This is an informal way to say, really? Or are you serious? You use it when you hear something surprising or hard to believe. If your friend tells you, I won the lottery, you would probably say, what? For real?
Let's talk about a polite way to show gratitude with phrase 17. I appreciate it.
This is a slightly more formal or heartfelt way to say thank you. It emphasizes that you recognize the effort someone has made for you. If a colleague stays late to help you finish a project, you could say, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it.
Phrase 18 is another useful one for controlling the pace of a conversation. Hang on a second.
This is a casual way to say, wait for a short time. You might use it if you need a moment to think or to do something. For example, if you're on the phone and someone comes to your door, you can say to the person on the phone, hang on a second, someone's at the door.
Now for our 19th phrase, a great way to start a conversation with someone you haven't seen in a while. What have you been up to?
This is a friendly way to ask, what have you been doing recently? It invites the other person to share news about their life, their work, or their hobbies. It's much more engaging than just asking, how are you?
And finally, our 20th phrase. This one's full of emotion. You've got to be kidding me.
You say this to express strong surprise, disbelief, or sometimes frustration. It means, I can't believe this is happening. For example, if you get to the airport and realize you forgot your passport at home, you might say to yourself, you've got to be kidding me.
It can also be used for happy surprises. If you get a promotion you weren't expecting, you might say, I got the manager position? You've got to be kidding me. That's amazing. It all depends on your tone of voice.
That's a fantastic idea, Mike. Let's double it. We're already halfway through our supersized episode, so let's dive into phrase number 21. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's our 20th phrase. But you know what, Angela? I think we can give our listeners some more. What do you say we go for 20 more phrases?
We certainly have. We hope you've learned some useful phrases that you can start using right away to make your English sound more natural.
Remember, the key is to practice. Try to use one or two of these new phrases in your conversations this week. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
That's great advice. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Practical English Podcast.
If you found this episode helpful, please support us by following our channel and giving this episode a like. It really helps us reach more learners like you.
And we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below, tell us which phrase was new for you, or let us know what topics you'd like us to cover in a future episode.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm Mike.
And I'm Angela. We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye for now.